It's turn 7 of Hell's Gate, the Korsun Pocket 1944, and as always we start with the Soviet turn. Before I do that, just cover off any special rules for this, and I think it's important to understand the rules for the last turn as well on this. The only special rule for this turn is that Soviets also get a replacement, so they can flip a 2-step unit that's been reduced to 1 as long as it's in supply during their supply and reinforcements phase. The key rule though is to prepare for the breakout, which can happen in turn 8. In turn 8, any unit that's out of supply can, instead of moving, try and break out, and that actually applies to either side. To get a chance to break out, you need to have at least one of your sides supplied hexes and with units in within a 2-hex radius, and for every one that is in that 2-hex radius increases your chances. So basically you've got to have at least one. So if we take this one, these actually have 1, 2, 3 in that radius. These wouldn't be able to break out, so they're going to have to move up. You roll a dice for each unit, and if you roll a 5 or more, you break out, and you get an extra +1 for every hex that is within the 2. So actually you get a +3 here. So these would have a good chance of breaking out. So we're going to have to move up, but it shows that from a Russian point of view, it's critical that we try and drive these back. As was from the German point of view, we try and break through to one of these hexes. I mean, if we can break through one of these two, we can actually get them back into play. But we at least try and keep as many here on the basis that these will actually stay where they are, and then we can see how many break out. These are going to have to move up, so we're going to get a whole logjam of units coming up at the end of this turn to give ourselves that chance. Historically, it was this hex Shenderovka that was the breakout location, or where they started the breakout. But it looks like it's going to be one further forward unless we can get pushed back. So let's these are all getting most together. Let's see how the turn plays off. So all the Russians are in supply as usual. There's no reinforcements, so I just need to think who I flip to get the most punch in the attack, and I'm going to make it this tank corps. So we're on to the attack, and I think we'll start off with the attack on here. This is the most crucial. So throw all my available tank corps at it. 2, 3, 4, tripled 12. We can throw another 6 from here. 12, that makes it 18, 19, 20. And the best we've got here is a 5. 20 to 5 is a 4 to 1. That's going to be knocked down to 3 to 1 because of mud, but then these guys are completely out of supply, so it puts it back up to the 7 to 1 category, and we need to either inflict the maximum number of casualties or entice them to fall back. So it's going to be an all out. Didn't last very long. So all out on the 6 to 1, 7 to 1 column. It'll always be hit. The worst of the Germans is a 6, it gets 3. Best is a 1. It just gets a 1. Everything else in between is a 2. We get a 1. Lucky for the Germans. So they definitely are not going to retreat, and we're going to lose that 1 brigade regiment. So that's good news, and he uses up all these here. Actually, just to remind myself, those 2 have attacked there. He's free to attack elsewhere. Up the top here, we see if we can inflict some casualties. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it 15? 15 to 8. Oh, just missed 2-1. So it makes it a 3-2. With the mud, we'll actually take it down to a 1-1, which is not worth doing. So that's not worth it. We've got a better attack on any of these. This would be a 6. But that's already 6-8 on that. No, not much use there. So I think can we inflict some more on here? That would be, there's 4 in defence. We've got 4, 8, 12. 12 towards a 3-1, but at least half are attacking across the river. So that's down to a 2-1, and the good old mud is down to 3-2. So I need a 6 to have any effect. I'm not going to risk it all out here. No effect there. And these will all attack here. Again, 9-2, 4-1, but down to 3-1, down to 2-1. Let's see if we need a 5 or a 6. No effect there either. So the Soviets' luck seems to be running out on this turn in their attacks. Final one up here. We've got 3, 2, 3, 1-1. No, he's only got -1 shift because he's in Shen over here, so that won't be any effect at all. So not much doing for the Soviets. So from their point of view, we now just need to shuffle things around to get maximum defence that we can, and then also maximum attack for the last go as well. So we need to, these hexes need to be keep them as powerful as possible. We need to get something into here to help on my attack, so I'm going to move this core in to assist with this. He will shuffle up, and I don't know what I'm doing with that. They will shuffle up there. Got 6 and 6 for defences here, that's fine. We probably need to maximise our potential attacks on this hex here. So I'm going to move these two slightly weaker cores up, because if the Germans want to attack up that way, they can feel free. But I don't think so. So we'll move those in there to give me a better attack on this next time round. In fact, what I'll do, I'll put him in there and move him up there. And I think that's the best reshuffle of the movements. So straight on to, well, we don't have any recovery, so straight on to the German supply reinforcements. No reinforcements for them either. These are still out of supply. So combat. Right. Well, we need to start bashing away, trying to get to one of these. So we're going to go for this up here. We've got 6 defending it. It's a wood hex, these are only doubles, so 6, 12, 24 attacking from this side. It's a 4-1. The woods make it 3-1, and then the mud make it a 2-1. It's got to be all out, because we're looking for a 5 or a 6, which is a 2 red, which forces the Russians to retreat. So I'll lock ready on this dial, 2-1. Germans ideally want their 5 or 6. They get a 4. So 1, one hit, which the Russians will absorb. Oh, and Germans have to make that all out, so they've got to attack here. The other, probably the weakest hex down here is this one. Put my 2 Panzer Corps here. 3 treble 9, 10, 9, 10, 11 to 5, so it's a 2 to 1. Down to a 3 to 2 because of the mud, and we're going to have to make it all out again so we can get another. Actually no, this is, Germans think we're already close to there, that doesn't get you any quicker. Don't want to waste another point on that. I need to leave that exactly as it is. And no, I think with the defences up on the rest, there's, what could he do? You do a 3 to 1, down to a 2 to 1, down to a 3 to 2 on that, so you might as well, if you could just force him back, it's a 6. He needs to get a 4, no effect. So that's all combat, it's time for movement. Right. These all have to move up, so bear with me, I'm just going to stack everything in here. They've all got to be ready for their breakout. And there, this is certainly shows you how congested this can all be. All out of supply. They're going to get a bit of a pasting next time around in terms of attacks, but so be it. And is there any better distribution of attack that I can make up here? No, I think that's still the best if we're going to keep pushing at that. But what I can do is if the Russians, I can shuffle around a little bit, but let's remember we're doing the Germans at the moment. So that's all their movement, no recovery. It's the last turn. Turn 8 of Hell's Gate, and we have come to the final turn. First up, as always, Soviets, and no supply reinforcements, so we need to make the most of this final attack, do as much damage as we can. We've got 4, 7, put my base units in, 11, 3, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, which shows I'm not sure I could have got actually any more in there, but 23, I know there's 3 units with at least 2 factors in there, so it's 23 to 6, I just missed out on 4 to 1, so it's a 3 to 1. Obviously it makes 2 to 1 because we're out of there because of mud, but then all our supply and they're out of these 3 hexes, so they get the worst 2 shifts. So where do I say 3 to 1, 2 to 1, back up to the 4 to 5 to 1 column, and it's automatically an all-out attack because they're over concentrated. So I need 3 or better to get the maximum out of this. I get a 6, that's 2 hits, so Germans will just have to take, because they don't want to move backwards. That would completely scupper their chances. So that's all here. Then I think we will try and score some points down the bottom here. 3, 6, 9, 11, 5 to 1 down to the 3 to 1 column. I need a 1, 2 or 3 to have some effect here. Is it worth going all out? That will give you a half chance of either eliminating them both. No, I think just do a straight 3 to 1. 1, no effect down the bottom. And then the remaining units up here will attack 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 to 8. Not 2 to 1, down to 3 to 2. In fact, no, same problem I had last time. Haven't quite got the punch up there to make any difference. It does help the Germans that they can count 3 units. That's the end of the attack, so we need to reorganise this to get the maximum defence along here to avoid any breakthroughs. And it's these 2 hexes that are going to be key. So we also need to give ourselves room in case we have to retreat as well. So let's make these will pull back. These pull back to here, and he will advance to there. Get my 7. He will swap places in there to get my 7 in here. These guys will move in here, although this is just to avoid any silliness with the final attack causing them to retreat, and then the rest of the Germans could try and create some more casualties here. So that puts us there. Let's see how that holds up against the German assault. So, supply as before. We know we're going to have a chance to break out. We just need to see if we can actually break through and make a breakout unnecessary. So I've got 2 options. I've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 up here, which will be doubled to 22. 22 to 7 is a 3 to 1 to start off with. Or down here, 5, 6, 7, 8, tripled 24 to 7, which again is a 3 to 1. So it takes money, it makes your choice. Both of them would have to be all out, so I think we're going to go this one here for no real good reason other than it's not in the woods. So 3 to 1 down to 2 to 1 because of the river, down to a 3 to 2 because of the mud. And that's going to be the same for both of those because the wood would have the same effect. So it's got to be an all out. 3 to 2 all out. I need a 6 to force them to retreat. So it comes down to the last desperate roll of the dice. It's a 1, which isn't even a hit at all. Can I go some mischief up here just with these? I think we can probably have a go, see if we can just chance to maybe capture this back again. We've got 3 there, these are going to be tripled. There's 18, sorry, so 6 here, tripled 18 to 3 is a 6 to 1, down to the 4 to 5 1 column. So again, if I can get a 2, I can get that back, so it's worth it going all out. We should have thought of these guys up here. I need 3 or better. I get a 5. 2 hits, got to take a hit, and they've got to retreat. I think I missed that possibility with the Soviets. German movement, well, that's where he started off. He manages to capture Novaya Greblia. Sure it's not actually that. With that, there's no point any movement here, so we probably come down to the key roles of the game for the Germans the breakout attempt from the pocket. Let's do this one by one just to get some suspense. So we'll start off with the panzers of the SS Viking. So there's +1, 2, 3. They need a 5 or better. So we should get most of these out. So only a 1 will not save them. 4, he's out. They still count for casualties if they've lost a step, but they don't count as destroyed. The Grenadiers has a 2 + 3 is 5. He makes it. The Walloons, another SS, they make it. The 332nd Regiment, he makes it. The 11th Panzer, who've hung on in there to their rash initial attack, they make it. The 72nd, they make it. Is anybody going to get caught? The Russians would have hoped at least 1. 88th, he makes it. And with the last roll of the dice, no, he doesn't quite. Last one out, got caught. So there is the end of the game. So we now need to count up the victory points and see how both of the teams have done. I'm going to pause while I do that and then come back with the final result. So it was a Soviet victory. When you look at the units in the destroyed box, that's probably no great surprise, although actually it was a lot closer than you think. So when you total up victory points, you get a point for every step that's destroyed, and the Soviets won that 14-2. You also get a point for every 2-step unit that's been reduced that's on the board, and actually that was 9 each. So that was closer. You also get 2 points for every supply source, and here the Soviets were a bit careless. You have to actually occupy the supply source at the end of the game. So this should have been there. So it's lucky it wasn't that close. So they get 2, they should have had 4 for that. And then as a balancing factor to keep the game equal, the Germans get 10. When you work that through, it was actually a Soviet victory by 25-21. So getting most of their units out actually really avoided it being a complete and utter whitewash. It should have been 27-21. And that's kind of indicative of most of the games. It was a lot closer, but the mud particularly means you end up with a lot more reduced units as you have to do more and more all-out attacks. How do I think I did? Well, the Russian strategy held. They managed to squeeze at both sides. They managed to hold the Germans off. They probably should have thought a little bit more about getting some more push on the inner pocket, because they did allow a lot of units to escape, and maybe also to try and capture another one of these, which would have reduced the chances of escape as well. I could probably have defended that better at the end too. So generally the strategy worked, but again, always things to learn. From the Germans' point of view, I think we were probably just rushed it a little bit in terms of rushing that unit in there. That didn't really add much for that Panzer unit. I should have had him outside here. Probably held off on some of these attacks until I could build up my strength a bit more. But fundamentally, the Panzer units did what they needed to do, getting here, holding these, chipping away. I think probably should have shifted and actually gone for this one earlier on, or even down here. If I could get them all down here, then actually you've got a chance without the river of some big attacks. So something to try out next time around. But again, it's a fun game. Hope you enjoyed it. Can't believe I've managed to turn a game and only play in about an hour or so into about 2 hours worth of videos, but that's all the talking, I guess. Hope you found that informative, and look on to see what I'm going to do for my next video. Cheers.